Sweet, bow hunters, welcome back, and aloha, Austin Griffey, welcome.
Right on. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm doing very well. So I was just talking to you before we started recording, and I was just, I don't know how I came across your Instagram page, but started following you somewhere along the traps, probably from looking up the hashtag bow hunting or something like that, maybe bow hunting Hawaii, I'm not sure, but I've always had a bit of an interest in Hawaii. My wife absolutely loves Hawaii, so she's like, hey, we really need to go to Hawaii. She's been pushing me for ages. And now, like, I've always had a love for surfing, so Hawaii was always there. It just wasn't quite like on the top of my list. And now that I know we can go hunting there as well, I'm like, hey, let's go to Hawaii. And she's like, that sounds great. What a good idea, which is awesome. So I think it's kind of the best of all worlds. But I thought, what better way than talk to a local about the actual experience that you guys have there and how you've seen it, I guess, kind of develop over the years as well. But Austin, can you just give us a little bit of a background on yourself, dude? Like, what do you do with yourself? How did you get into hunting and all that side of things?
It's kind of a long story, actually.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in South Kona, Big Island, Hawaii. Grew up bow hunting, 8 or 9 years old. My dad was into the hunting scene, into the cattle ranching and stuff like that, and we had some decent sized property to hunt and stuff growing up as kids. So we saw a lot of game. We lived on this cliffside in this small area called Kolo, and it's overlooking these craters and some pretty cool cliffs. And there was always goats down there growing up. So it's like when we came home from school, we were grabbing the bows and running across down below the house and hunting for goats. When we just hear our mom yelling, we know, okay, it's time to come up. So that's how it all started. There's nothing to do down here. There's no internet. There's no TV. We had an antenna that caught like 3 channels on our TV.
Yeah.
So it's like outdoors was the life, kicking rocks, bare feet, whatever. It's just getting dirty and having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The South Kona life.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I mean, something that I heard, and I've got a friend who actually lives over in Hawaii. I don't know where she lives, but she moved over there from Seattle to run a kids training program because there is actually now a lot of a drug issue, I believe, in Hawaii because there isn't a lot to do. So a lot of people kind of turn to drugs instead.
Yeah, there is a lot of drug use going on around here. There's people walking on the side of the road, freaking spinning brains. But I mean, we do see them come in and come out. Like, we do know a lot of people that have gone into drugs and kind of went down a dark path, and we've seen them come out of it and get help from family and friends. I mean, it happens to a lot of people, but most of the drug users that we see on the side of the road and in the homeless camps and stuff, they're not from here. They're not local.
Yeah.
They're mainlanders. They're coming from somewhere else, and they're getting a one-way ticket over here, and they're living on the streets, collecting welfare, and just doing drugs. I mean, it's probably one of the easiest states to be homeless. I mean, you can live on the beach. There's free showers. It's pretty easy for them, and it doesn't get freezing cold. You're not gonna die.
Yeah.
Out in the weather. Or you could sleep outside by the beach with no clothes on all night and be fine.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, dude. And I mean, like, she's loving it over there because she's able to go into these families where the kids, maybe their parents are fully affected by the drugs, and the kids are kind of just left to fend for themselves. So they take them in. They're at a CrossFit gym, and so they teach them different CrossFit movements, and they'll talk about adventure races and bits and pieces like that. So she's getting a lot of fulfillment out of doing that. It's just it's kind of crazy that that's even a thing in this day and age. But I mean, obviously there's things that we can get addicted to, and I'm pretty sure hunting's a lot better and a lot more healthy than getting into something like drugs. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Hunting is a drug for sure. But that's awesome. That's awesome. She's doing that though. I mean, there's not much people out there that actually want to help the community out and help homeless people or drug addicts and get them back on their feet. People just look at them and just despise them.
Yeah. No, she's a gem. She's doing a good job. That's it's kind of sucky because it does it almost taints a beautiful place, right? Like when you've got something that's going so well for it, and Hawaii just gets all the grace and all the good talks about it. Yet when things like that happen, and more people keep coming because it is so easy to get there and live there on the beach, it's upsetting,
Yeah.
man.
There's a lot of homeless people too, but again, it's not that bad. Like
No.
it's not as bad as some and stuff like that. Like I've seen some pretty gnarly places, and this is my home. I love it here, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, dude, that's incredible. So, tell us a little bit more about the hunting. What's the rules and regulations when it comes to hunting on Kona?
There are some public areas you can hunt. They're allowed to shoot one ram, one goat, um, one ewe, or is one sheep, one goat, one pig a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's like Mauna Kea hunting areas, which is the main mountain on this island. The one that the Hawaiians are fighting for right now, actually, because they're trying to build a 30-meter telescope on top of it.
Wow.
So they're pretty much, it's all sacred land up there too, and they're just trying to desecrate it by putting this huge freaking telescope up there.
Who's doing that? Like NASA or someone, or?
Oh, the government's trying to push it. It's a private entity that, I don't know if they pay the government off or what, but they're trying to push the government to put it up there, and they're arresting people and everything. There's this.
Wow.
You should look it up. It's pretty intense right now. There's people living on the mountain, and they haven't gone home. They're staying up there every day. There's thousands of people up there. And there's people doing work shifts. They're feeding each other. People are constantly bringing in food and taking care. They're doing schooling up there. They're teaching the kids, the keiki,
Wow,
about the Hawaiian ways, basically, and how it was and how it used to be, and teaching them the olelo of Hawaii is
dude.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that is really cool, and I think that's something that kind of really draws me like to that whole island life and how much the island culture, they really support each other. And it's more like, hey, we're in this big tribe and culture together. Like, let's make it work as best we can, and let's educate each other and help each other to move forward, rather than it being, well, I'm the top dog and I'll always be the top dog, so you guys can go and fend for yourself.
Yep, exactly. It seemed like everything got so modernized so quick. And right now it's at a turning point where it's going to make history. Everything's going to go back to, like, they're going to start bringing back the old ways and letting the heritage live on, basically, because they stopped it. I mean, they weren't doing teaching Hawaiians and stuff like that in the schooling. I guess they took away the language back in, frick, I don't do much research on it, but a long time ago. I don't know which year it was, but it's been a struggle, man. I mean, I see it. I feel for them. I feel for the people. It's growing up here. I know a lot of the local Hawaiians, and they're awesome people. So giving, so aloha, so loving.
Yeah.
It's sad to see them going through this right now.
Yeah, definitely, dude. That's and it's kind of crazy. Like, obviously, there is a lot of good in technology, but when you see things like that, like places being ruined because of it, that's really quite upsetting.
I mean, and it has a lot to do with the hunting too. They shut down the mountain. They weren't letting people go up there and hunt and gather to feed their families. They shut down the whole mountain. Nobody could go up there. No hunting. No nothing. It's pretty.
When it comes to that life of like still hunting and gathering like for family, is there a lot of people in Hawaii that still do that? Like their main foraging is from the land?
Yeah, there's gatherers here. They feed off the land. They pick fruits. They catch pigs. They hunt sheep. They grow their own kalo, their own taro. They make their own poi. They do everything. They still do it.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, going back to the actual hunting land side of things, so, I mean, obviously with the mountain getting ripped out a little bit, that takes away a big chunk. But what else do you have for hunting opportunities? Like public land, is it accessible for everyone and anyone, or is there rules and regulations? Do you have to get licenses?
Yeah, you got to have a license. You can buy an out-of-state license. I think it's like $90. And you don't have to buy tags or anything. You just check into the hunter's check-in area and go
crazy. Yeah, wow.
Look up the maps. They'll give you a map when you go buy your license. They'll give you a booklet of the rules and regulations, and it shows a map of the game management areas, and you can just study those boundaries to make sure you're not going to be crossing the boundary, because the public areas do border military bases. So there is active military guys on duty, and you could get in a lot of trouble, I'm sure, if you're caught in the military base.
Yeah. And is that only bow hunting, or is that rifle hunting too?
There's rifle units as well, but they're pretty shot up and scarce.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's like a rifle unit that borders the archery unit, and I'm sure that when the archers shoot, the sheep run into the rifle areas, and then when the rifle guys shoot, they run back down.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, you guys have access deer over there, which we call chittle deer over here in Australia. And you've got goats and you've got sheep. Does sheep and ram, are they the same breed, or are the rams different?
Well, the ram is the male
of the sheep, right? Yeah.
Sheep is the animal.
Okay.
And the ram is the male. So there's different varieties of animals, of sheep here. So that we got mouflons, ferals, and hybrids.
Yep.
The European mouflon, which and guys in Australia are big fans of. And then we got our regular feral rams with the curly horns.
Yep.
And then hybrids are the mouflon feral cross.
Okay.
And those create some pretty beefy, cool looking rams.
Is that the one that you just posted on your Instagram? You know how you're doing your 10-day hunt challenge?
No, that was a mouflon.
That's a mouflon, yeah, okay. Because isn't that one of the ones, like, that's essentially like the bighorn sheep that people pay bulk money to go hunting over in the States?
I'm not sure how much they pay for the States. I never really actually looked into it because I've always had it right here.
Access, yeah, definitely.
I know they do high fence hunting in Texas and stuff like that for guided hunts for those mouflons, but I'm not sure if there's a free range ranch or anything that has them. But where is it? In somewhere in another country, Spain or something like that, Bulgaria or something, they have some mouflons over there too. I was looking at some videos on YouTube. They got big ass rams, dude.
And so I mean, like when you knock them over, are you eating those critters?
We get in them quite a bit, but they're not
the tastiest.
Yeah, they're pretty. Oh, for taste wise, they're mouflon are good eating. Ferals, ferals I'm not too fond of.
Yeah,
but mouflon is, to me, it's better than any meat out there. I like it more than access deer.
Yeah, wow, that's saying something.
But that's all I've ever eaten mostly when I hunt, because that's all I hunt is mouflons.
Yeah, and so
it's like that's what I've grown fond of, because I eat a lot of it.
yeah, definitely, dude. And so when it comes to them, like, are they pretty like jittery critters? If they see you, are they running, or are they pretty kind of dumb, like a goat or something? Or
I would say they're one of the most intelligent animals out there.
Yeah, wow. So even more,
they'll pick you out from 1,000 yards.
No way.
Easy. And their hearing is awesome. There's no way you if you're like walking through grass and there's no wind and you're within 40 yards, you cannot take one step, because they will just hear that swish on the grass and they'll pinpoint you.
No way.
They're pretty smart animals.
Yeah. And so every time you've hunted them, has it been like a sit and wait sort of style, or has it been a spot and stalk?
I usually find heavily fetid areas, and I'll try and sit on those areas for a little bit. And if that doesn't produce, then I'll do zigzags, and I'll try to find funnels and walk through funnels and push up against ravines, because they like to hide out in the backside of the ravines. Like when you're walking the land, the flat land, and then there's like, you'll see a draw where it's nicely grazed.
Yeah.
We walk up the draw and we end up bumping some. You know where to look after time, where they're going to be bedded down, on what angles and stuff the wind tells a lot too. You'll know which direction they're going to be facing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this last one I went the one ram that I posted last night. That one I bumped a bunch of sheep that day because it was dead wind and they just kept hearing me.
Yeah.
And then I heard them cracking horns about maybe 80 to 100 yards away.
Yeah.
So I got that out. That messed them up because I knew exactly where they were.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would wait for the wind to come. So right there, the wind would blow, and then I would walk. The wind would go die. I would stop, and I wouldn't move. Sometimes the wind wouldn't come by for like 15 minutes. I'm standing there listening, and then I picked them out at like 20 yards through the trees feeding, and I couldn't get a shot. And I did a circle around him, and he heard me, and he came busting through the grass, stared at me, stomping, just standing straight up, staring at me. And I had an arrow knocked, and I didn't have my release on or nothing, or range finder, and I figured he was like at 20, 25 yards. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna shoot this ram. It's not gonna happen because he's just gonna just run as soon as I draw. And we're staring at each other for like 5 solid minutes. And right there, he put his head down, like they put their head down and stomped their foot real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was gonna move, so I just gave him a little grunt, just brr. And he looked at me, and then I drew back, grunting as I drew back real slow. And he let me draw back, and I just freaking soaked him right in his chest, and he flipped over right there.
No way. So he was facing front onto you?
He was facing straight at me, looking right at me. I was standing in the wide open, straight up.
Yeah, wow.
And just because they were in that false rut mode where they were cracking horns and kind of pushing,
mm-hmm.
I gave like a little old youth grunt, and he kind of looked at me again and didn't know what I was because I was fully camoed out. I mean,
yeah, so had the head mask on and everything.
Yeah, fully suited, camoed with that Brackenwear camo.
Yeah, that's insane.
He knew I was there, but he couldn't really tell what I was. So giving those couple grunts just gave me that 10 seconds to seal the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll help you out at some points, but you got to know when to use it.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely overdo it, and it almost educates the animal instead, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like certain time of years, they won't even answer to it at
mm-hmm.
all. They won't stop. They'll just keep running. But then, like, you come around August to December, and they'll come running into it.
Is that their rutting season?
And want to fight, yeah. August to December.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the population is real scattered out in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it takes a while for them to breed. I mean, one ewe could stay in heat for a solid week, I think.
Okay.
And then you're gonna get multiple rams coming through and trying to fight, but it's in some units it's different. There's bulk, and then there's other units where you're lucky you see one animal a day.
Yeah, wow. So how many numbers are you kind of seeing typically?
Maybe like 9 or 10 sheep a day. I like to hunt the thick forest.
Yeah.
Where guys don't really. I actually hunt in a rifle area.
Dogs are crazy.
I hunt in a rifle area with my bow, but it's such thick forest that you couldn't even put a scope through it and put an animal. Like the first time I hunted this forest, I actually shot a ram from the hip at like 5 yards. I had my dad's 7mm lever action, and I spotted this ewe, and I started calling because it was rut time. I started calling, and I hear a freaking stomping to my left. I'm like, oh, crap. I start turning slowly, and he's standing on this rock looking down at me. It's a big ram, too. It's like a 31-inch ram. And he's looking right at me, and I had one in the chamber ready because it was a lever action. So all I had to do was pull back the hammer. I just pulled back the hammer slowly and started like turning at him and grunting. And when I started grunting, he started turning his head like a little puppy does. When he started whining, it thinks to turn his head. And I just got right till I lined it up with him and just pulled the trigger, and it was just all smoke.
Wow.
Couldn't see thing. I was like, oh no, I get him. I rolled over, looked over the side, and there was a big dig out in the ground, and I followed the hoof tracks, and he was right there piled up. It was pretty cool.
No way. That's
That was
insane.
like the only ram I've ever shot with a rifle was
And,
from the hip.
and so, what about your first ram with? It's like the old Western style. What about your first ram with the bow? How did that go down?
My first real big ram with the bow was me and my buddy. I took him hunting the week before, and I took him to this unit that had a nice ram that I was watching, and I totally took him a totally different way, so we wouldn't even see that ram.
Mm-hmm.
And just so happens we were walking up this alleyway, and there's this ram looking at us through the grass, bedded down, and all I could see was his eyes up. And I told my friend, I was like, knock an arrow. This is a nice ram, because I could see the tight compressions on his horn.
Yeah.
It was only like 25 yards. I was like, when he stands up, shoot him. Right there, I just give a grunt. The thing stands up, and right when he stands up, I'm like, no, whack, shoots it. We get over there. He was so happy, so stoked. It was the biggest ram he ever seen. And I was like shaking my head, like, no, I was after this ram for a long time.
No.
Yeah. But I was like, nah, it's all good. And then he started razzing me. He's like, you'll never get a ram like this. I was like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. Let's go. I'm going to take you to another unit next weekend, and I'm going to shoot one way bigger than this. And he was like, yeah, right. Okay, let's go. So we go up there, freaking take his brother. It was me, him, and his brother had the rifle. So we had his brother go kind of a far away on the right side. And we kind of just hunted down low in the forest. And we get back to this one spot, and my friend's like, dude, my brother's not answering his GPS. I'm worried. I think he's lost or something. Then he starts panicking, and he's like, let's go. We got to go. And I'm like, no, dude, we got to wait 5 more minutes. It's like prime time. Then right when he's like, yeah, I'm going to pack up my stuff. I'm going to go. Freaking, I look up, and there's this big ram walking up the draw. And I was like, give me a rangefinder. He was like, what? I'm like, give me a rangefinder. Don't you fuck this up. You ain't shooting nothing. You shot one last week. This is my turn. So I snuck over to this big koa tree, and I stood right beside it. And the alleyway that he was walking up was going to be maybe like 7 or 8 yards away. And there's this small window if he would have walked through. So I'm peeking over. I'm looking at my friend, and my friend's looking straight at him at like 40 yards with his arrow on it. And he's like looking at it. And I look at him, and he's telling me, holy shit, I could read his lips. And I look at him. I'm like throwing my arms at him. I'm like, shoot it. Don't you shoot it. And this ram comes walking through the draw. So I draw back, and it was raining, and I had my rain jacket on. He heard the swish.
Oh, no.
Stops, pins me. I'm full drawn, and I can't shoot because he's behind a bush. So I'm full draw for like 3 or 4 minutes. And then he freaking puts his head down, and I let back and get behind the tree. And I'm like, take a breather. And then I peek over, look at him again. He goes to take a step, and I draw back, and it swished again. And he stopped and looked at me again. And then I was like, fuck it. I just kind of stepped out, and he saw me and bumped and turned around. And just went, bah! And he turned around and stopped one last time. And I just stuck it right in his freaking, right up his pocket.
Far out.
And he didn't go far.
That's unreal. That's so cool. And so, I mean, for you, you've got a lot of hunting experiences, or hunting opportunities, I should say. Are you practicing much throughout the week, or is your practice pretty much hunting now?
Practice has always been hunting. I mean, I only get out and shoot when I'm messing with equipment and trying other things like different arrow weights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or a different bow, perhaps. And then I got my recurve bow. I do try to practice with that every chance I get, but I've been having some shoulder pains for the past couple months, so haven't been shooting that as much.
Okay. And that's come on since you've been shooting the recurve?
Yeah, I got into the recurve heavy, and I missed 2 big rams at like 15 yards with it. And I was just so depressed. that I was just gave up on it and put it away. Because the one ram was was probably one of the biggest rams I've ever shot at. I missed him at 15 yards because I was looking at his horns, obviously, and I shot right over his back. I didn't even see the arrow where the hell it went. My buddy's like, dude, he shot over his back, and he ran out at 40 yards and looked at me for like 10 minutes, and I couldn't do nothing. I can't shoot that far with the recurve, and I wasn't gonna risk wounding him. But I never saw him again. And that was like 3 years ago.
So what's kind of typical of the sheep?
If we do see him soon, he's gonna be freaking huge.
Sorry, I was gonna say what's typical of the sheep? Like, what's their sort of ranges that they'll cover? What sort of ground do they go over? Like, are they sitting on one ridge line and kind of hanging out in the one space for home, or are they traveling?
They travel in the rut. The rams like to travel, and in the off season, the rams like to stick in 2 or 3s. The hybrids and the pharaohs, they stick in big numbers. They'll bachelor up to like 20 to 50 rams in one herd. But mouflons, I haven't seen a bachelor herd bigger than 10 or 11. But there is a few bachelor herds that I've seen of pharaohs that hold a lot of animals, and they're all big. Like the smallest one was like 28 inch, 30 inch.
It's insane.
But but none of the rams were over that 33 to 34 inch mark, so we ended up not shooting anything.
That's crazy.
We got big rams already. I mean, I'm lucky and happy to get one a year.
Yeah.
I don't need to shoot one every time I go out. I mean, there's guys that hunt out there and they kill a ram every weekend. But I don't need another rack sitting outside in the yard.
No, exactly. What's better eating, the guys or the girls?
The females are way better eating.
Yeah.
And we have polled rams over here too. And polled rams are rams without horns or deformed.
Okay.
They grow deformed horns, and those things get so fat and so healthy.
Yeah.
In my book, that's probably one of the best sheep you could shoot is a polled ram. The fat is always really nice. Yeah.
And so, I mean, for you guys, are you pretty much eating just game meat? Are you pretty much just eating off the land for your meat?
Pretty much. I haven't bought. The only thing we buy is chicken.
Yeah.
Because I trap pigs and we catch pigs every week. We're skinning pigs almost every other day.
Yeah.
When we go sheep hunting, I don't get much mouflon anymore because I only really like to hunt one place. And it's just because it's so beautiful and just get to clear my head up there and it's far away from everybody. I'll go up there and won't see one person all day.
Yeah.
Won't have to worry about nothing. I'll be the only guy that goes up there that weekend kind of deal. And just get lost in the forest. I'm lucky I'll see one animal, but if I do see a ram, he's going to be a toad. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, I mean, with the trapping of the pigs, is that the only way you get them? You trap them and then you'll just stick them with a knife, or do you actually hunt them with a bow as well?
We do stalk with the bow, yeah. My friend's got a mac nut orchard right next door, my neighbor. And we go stalk over there in the evenings and the pigs come down to eat the mac nuts.
Okay.
And then we catch them with the dogs too.
What did you just do with your microphone? Something just happened.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's it. I know it was like whistling. That was weird.
Might be the Koki frogs.
Maybe. Sorry. So yeah, you'll chase him. He's got a good property.
Yep, and we do chase him with the dogs too.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And all the pig over there, do the hogs have any disease or anything, or you don't have to worry about it very much?
There's diseases, but it's not like we can see it. You look at the tenderloin. If there's worms or the tenderloin's all pussy inside the gut cavity, I don't really bother with it. And if there's white spots on the liver, I do not touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's hundreds of pigs over here, thousands of pigs over here. Why risk getting sick on something you're unsure of. Like we skin pigs and gut pigs all the time, so we know what a healthy gut looks like.
Yeah.
And we'll cut one open and it'll be stink from the beginning. Like, well, something's wrong with this thing.
Yeah.
And then we start looking at it. There's pus in the tenderloins and worms all in the tenderloin. And then the gut cavity's got this different smell too, and it's infected.
Yeah. Sounds gross.
It just smells like death. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that really I think is super cool is your little smokehouses that you do. So pretty much like a garden shed. You fill the whole base with coal, and you hang all of the pork from the top, like just on little hangers. And then you just essentially smoke it for like 12 hours or something. Hey.
Yeah, so I like to do it in the afternoons. My smokehouse is a bunch of bed frames.
Yeah. Okay.
Angle iron. I welded up a frame, and then I self-tap drilled metal roofing to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then put a metal rack in there, and then we hang our meat with paper clips.
Yep.
So we bend the paper clips to make the S shape, and then we hook. We hook through the meat and hang it up there on the grill.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to start it right at sunset, and then I'll do a slow fire for like the first 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll do a hot hour, like at 10 o'clock at night, and then after, I'll put like 4 or 5 logs in there, and then I'll let the logs burn down, and then I'll throw 1 or 2 logs in after and go to bed, and then I'll wake up in the morning and it's all done.
And like it's pretty much just like a fully smoked. There's no actual like burnt pieces to them, is there?
No, it's smoked, caramelized, and cooked all the way through. It's cooked at like maybe 195 to 200 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever actually test it?
Smoke.
Did you chuck like thermometers or anything like that in there, or you just you just learned it along the way?
Oh, I've burnt down smokehouses.
Far out.
You get those real fat pigs, the fat drips on the fire.
Yeah.
And then if you got pieces falling down into the fire, it starts going up the walls, and then you'll just look at your smokehouse and it'll be black smoke, and I've opened smokehouses, burnt all my hair.
Jesus.
I'm still afraid of it. Like,
yeah.
You gotta watch it. I sit next to my smokehouse. I put my cot there and my cooler and sit there and drink beers until I fall asleep, basically, when I smoke meat. But you gotta watch it till you get through past the first sweat. So like you'll see the meat start it'll drip constantly. And then it will start getting caramelized, and then it'll start sweating. And then after the sweat goes away and it starts to look dry, then you shouldn't worry about it catching fire, because the fat's all caramelized. It's not going to drip anymore. Then I can go to sleep and then wake up in the morning and it's done.
Dude, there's nothing like doing like a pork roast just over, like I've got a little spit, which is awesome. Like just doing a pig on the spit is incredible. I can only imagine how good that stuff tastes.
That's what this right here. See this wooden box?
Yep.
That's called a China box. There's a grill on top of it.
Uh-huh.
And we put the pig inside of it, and we split it open, we butterfly it.
Yeah.
And the fire goes on top of the China box.
Uh-huh.
And we cook it for like 7 or 8 hours in there, and then it crisps and falls off the bone and shreds it. And so I last weekend I did 2 pigs in there, and then I bag everything up in meal-sized bags, and then we vacuum seal it and freeze it. So I got my freezers full of all kinds of different varieties of styles of pork and sheep and deer.
It's incredible. So I mean,
the China box is good eating.
Yeah, it sounds like an effective method. So the fire's on top and the pig's underneath, right? So it just heats up everything.
It's almost like the emu. The Hawaiians, the way they cook traditionally the pigs is they put it underground. Mm-hmm. They have their rocks and their fire in the ground. They cover it with burlap and dirt, and then it's pretty much cooked in the ground for like 11 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
The meat just shreds off the bone.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Pretty awesome.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like maybe some of the cultural things that you've grown up with, like some of the I guess some of the best lessons that you've learned from being on Kona and some of the different pieces that you've seen happen and things that you've learned from them regarding actually like hunting and gathering rather.
Um, I mostly learned not to just kill everything. Like you start learning over time what reproduction is and stuff like that, and what it needs. So it's like before when we were kids, we'd catch anything and just be stoked on it, and now it's like we'll catch a fish and throw it back, or we'll we'll let young rams walk. We won't shoot young youth at all. We'll shoot an old ewe or a polled ram for meat if we need meat. And there's all kinds of stuff too, like opihis, the limpets.
Mm-hmm.
Those get those tend to get raked and sold. And we live in this small section where we get access down to the ocean too, and we kind of we only go down there and pick when we want to eat,
Yeah.
just a little bit, a little bag full. We don't go down there and pick the whole reef because it does damage. Even the throwing net and the cross netting does damage. The fish is not like it used to be.
Yeah.
There's there's holes that there's moi holes that we used to go to as kids and throw net and catch moi, and now the holes are gone. There's no moi.
Hmm.
Can't find them. And then you go down. I take my kids to spots that we grew up fishing, and then you see guys coming from other sides of the island catching 100-pound sacks of fish and selling them because they're on drugs. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's hefty. I mean, you said that that's kind of the same for the actual land side of things because there's a lot of aerial shooting going on. So numbers in general have really decreased in Hawaii.
Big time.
Mm.
Thousands.
Are
Pretty
they?
depressing. I mean, the hunting industry, I don't see it lasting more than 20 more years on this rock.
Hmm.
Only on private land, but even the private lands get subdivided and sold. I mean, the state's turning into a money state where everything is all about money, and people are just they're either giving up and selling and moving on because the taxes over here. It's hard to live. Like I'm starting my own business, this construction business,
Yeah.
and the taxes just kill me. Workman's compensation, just insurance, liability insurance. Man, it's like they're taking over 50% of profit.
Far out.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's hefty. When it comes to private land, is it pretty hard to get access over there as well? Like, is it one of those situations where whoever's got a farm, they're getting heckled by every man and his dog?
Not really. I mean, the locals really hunt wherever they want,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, it's all up to you and how you feel about where you want to go hunting, basically.
Hmm.
I mean, but if you wanted to get passed to go somewhere, I'm sure you could get passed. People do kiss ass and make friends just to get hunting rights.
Hmm.
But then there is people that you could tell them, hey, I want to go hunt sheep. I'll pay you money, and they'd probably just take you up there for a guided hunt. There's guides over here too, and there's businesses and stuff like that do it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so, I mean, the private land that you have access to, is that just friends? Like, is that it, or is it
Yeah,
was
just
yeah?
friends. And then I live on 36 acres,
Hmm.
and we got a forest reserve behind my house. So I got sheep and cows and everything right in my backyard. I don't need to go anywhere.
That's awesome.
I'll just from here. I mean, yeah, it's 10-mile walk till I hit sheep, but
It's pretty
it,
worthwhile. That's a pretty good,
I
pretty
mean,
good
it's not
deal.
really worth it. I haven't done it in a while because it's such a far walk and it's straight uphill. But I mean, it's something I do once a year
Uh huh.
just to do it. Just a personal thing. I love it.
And
Just having that access and living. I'm born and raised right here in this small section, and somehow I ended up back out here in a totally different property right across the street from where I was born and raised.
it's
So my
incredible.
whole life I had the ocean access as a kid, and then now I got the whole mountain access and still the ocean access. So it's like we got the best of both worlds right here. We can do it all.
Dude, that's incredible. What have you seen, or what are the things that you try to show your kids, being that they've got access to pretty much everything that you had access to, plus maybe a little bit more? Is there things that you're trying to show them from a young age, like in regards to hunting?
Oh yeah, my son knows better. He'll throw fish back. He's always yelling at me when we're throwing net. You gotta throw this one back. He knows all the names of the fish.
Yeah,
He wants to be a marine biologist.
that's awesome.
He's all into fish. His mom is a scuba diver, and they collect aquatic fish. So they got tanks of fish in their shop. So he's always in there playing with fish and knows all the names of all of them. He's all into the ocean.
Yeah,
His name is Nakai, which means the ocean in Hawaiian.
that's cool.
He's pretty much living up to his name.
That's incredible.
But even Rams, I'll show him pictures of Rams on Instagram, and he's like, "That's a small one." It cracks me up. He's like, "I would have never shoot that." It cracks me up.
That's awesome. And so, I mean, like, he goes out and gets the pigs with you as well, I believe.
Yeah, he does. That's his thing. Can we check the trap? As soon as he jumps in the truck, from wherever I pick him up, if it's at school or with his mom's, it's like, "Can we go check the trap?" First thing. And then a couple times I made him hold the pig. It's pretty funny. I got some videos of him running for his life. I'm like, "Hold the rope so I can grab the pig," and I go to open the gate, and he's choking out the pig on the rope. And as soon as I grab the pig by the back legs, he lets go of the rope and he runs for his life. Jump on the truck. So funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. Do you guys catch the pigs and cut the testicles off of the young boys and then let them go again?
We do. We
What-
catch them off multiple properties, and I let them go right in my backyard.
Okay, and what's the purpose of that mainly? Is it just so they don't have testosterone, so they taste better?
Their body armor melts and turns into fat,
Ah,
and they become the most tastiest pigs ever.
okay.
We call them laholes.
Laholes.
Laholes. They cut their balls off and cut their ears and mark them. So if you're stalking and you see split ears, you automatically know that's a lahole. Shoot it.
What's
if it's fat.
Yeah, of course. Is that the way that you mark them? Is just by splitting their ear?
I cut the left side half off, and then I split the right side ear. So he'll have a nub and a split ear. So it looks like a peace sign on the right side ear.
Yeah.
And then the left ear is just cut in half.
And then are you running traps on your own property as well?
No, I don't have traps here. I just have feeders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just feed them, and we don't bother them.
What are you feeding them?
Mac nuts. Macadamia nuts.
Macadamias, yeah, wow. And they're just like, do you have a macadamia tree?
No, there's actually one of the biggest farms out here, Mac Nut Farms, and they go through thousands of pounds of Mac nuts. So they got like all the rejects and stuff like that. They give away by the 1,000-pound bag. I get some from my buddies, and we just throw a couple buckets every day.
Dude, I feel like that would be the tastiest pig ever.
So good. I mean, we eat the Mac nuts.
Yeah.
The reject.
Yeah.
They're roasted already. It smells so good. I parked the trailer above my house like 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And wind blows down at nighttime. We just smell Mac nuts coming to our house. Smells like roasted Mac nuts.
No way. I reckon that'd be some good eating. That sounds incredible.
But I feed them behind my house and trying to get them fat back here. So like, if one of my buddies comes from the mainland and be like, "Hey, you want to go shoot a pig?" He'd probably jump on it. A lot of my friends do jump on it.
Yeah.
Go up for an afternoon and wait and pick which one comes out, which one you want to shoot.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's incredible. When it comes to like traps, do you make your own traps or you just buy them?
We do make our own traps, yes.
What comes into making a good trap? Like structural integrity of it. What are you kind of looking for with a good trap?
Pretty much just whatever scrap metal we can find. We weld up a box. So we'll weld up panels,
Mm-hmm.
like 5 feet tall by 8 feet wide. weld up 4 panels. One of the panels has a drop gate in it.
Yeah.
And then we'd run a strip line and put the food in the back. I like to put two spots, like one on each corner on the front of the trap. I like to put 2 piles of bait there and then one in the middle. The first pig tends to, from the trail cameras from studying them, first pig tends to go to the left. Second pig walks to the middle. The third pig walks and gets stuck in between those two and eats that pile there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one pig in the middle pile starts going to the back. The line gets tripped, and we try to get 2 to 4 pigs at each time.
Mm-hmm.
Versus just catching just one single pig. If you just throw it in the back, you only catch one pig.
Yeah. And so with the box, like, do they have roofs on them, or you're keeping the roof off so it's just a high fence?
We just keep it off with high fence.
Yeah.
The forest pigs, they don't really like to go in traps, and when they do go in traps, they do like to jump out. But when you're dealing with these pigs around people's houses,
mm-hmm.
they're somewhat tame and used to humans and the sound of people and voices and all that, and cars driving up, so they don't get spooked and want to dig out. So they just end up just laying down. And then I got my little portable workbench that we use for carpentry.
Yeah.
It's like a little 2 foot by 4 foot wide bench. We bring it over there, put that right next to the trap, on the side of the trap, and then we lasso them and we choke them out
mm-hmm.
till their eyes roll in the back of their head, and then we pull them out, get them on the ground, then we take the rope off, and then they come back conscious, and they try to go nuts, and we just tie them up.
Yeah, wow. Far out. And so what's the highest that you've seen a pig jump, like getting out of those cages?
Oh, they climb out of that cage. We got trail camera pictures of them climbing right out.
Wow.
At least 5 foot tall fence.
Yeah.
Up the corner, just one after another, right up over.
No way. Like little staffies.
Yeah.
Little dogs just get over anything.
we thought somebody was stealing our pigs.
Yeah.
Because we were like, what the hell? They're in here. We see like blood in the corners of we're all down and looking in and inspecting it. Like, where's the pig at? We're following little pieces of blood. We look on the top, and there's hair stuck on the top in a strip of mud. We're like, ooh, this sucker. So we set up the trail camera, and we caught this same pig a couple times. He went in there, freaking eats the food, and then he jumps out of the thing. He jumps out of the pen. And then we come back the next night, eat the food, jump out of the pen.
Pigs outsmarting the humans.
We put the wire on top of it, and then we caught his ass.
Yeah, definitely.
We covered the top, and he never got out.
So what are you doing with the sows and stuff? Are you just letting them go, or do you is it a culling process as well? Like you're killing off of all of the animals?
The sows we eat if they're fat. If they're not fat, I have a holding pen right here.
Yeah.
In my back. If they're like 100-pound boars, we'll cut their balls. I'll throw them in the holding pen,
mm-hmm.
get them used to the food, and then I'll let them out.
Yeah.
So they don't just run for miles and panic or come back ever again. And then the sows, like 50 pounds, little fat roly-polies.
Yeah.
I throw those in the pen, and we kill them couple every month to China box to resupply the freezer.
How many do you kind of keep in the pen?
It all depends. Like right now, there's no pigs in the pen because we've been so busy with work. But we had 9 pigs in there a few weeks ago, and we killed them all and China boxed them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my friends was doing a fundraiser. He's making some smoked meat, so he killed a bunch too.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the China box, like obviously you said it's a wooden box on the outside. What's on the inside to stop it from all burning out? Like is there insulation or something inside of it?
Yeah, there's aluminum walls on the inside.
Okay.
Or it's aluminum walls, and then the top is an aluminum tray with the galvanized tray on top of that. And
so that whole top part just slides across, like just pulls out.
It picks off like a lid.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, you need 2 people because it's like 5 feet wide.
Yeah.
5 feet long. 2 people, and then you just take it off, put it on the ground, flip the pig over, and then put it back on, and put another bag of charcoal on there.
Yeah.
So it's a 15-pound bag every hour
mm-hmm.
of charcoal for like 8 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends on how much you want to do it.
I'm
And then
intrigued.
it
I'd
falls
love to
off the
make
bone.
one. What was that? Sorry.
It just falls off the bone right after. It comes real crispy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Some of the hunting, oh sorry, not some of the fishing experiences you guys have. Like, do you go out and do spear fishing, or are you purely just fishing with rods and
No, we dive.
nets?
I dive too. I I don't really blue water dive as much as I used to.
Uh huh.
My brother's all into the diving scene. He's got the boat and his buddies, and they all go out and dive blue water and spear onos and mahi mahis and stuff.
Okay.
But I like the reef dive. I like the reef hunt.
Yeah. And
It's more safe.
what's the big dangers for you guys over there?
Just sharks really.
What's the sharks do you have?
We got tiger sharks,
Okay.
Galapagos, brown sharks, white tips, makos, thrashers, hammerheads. We got all the sharks. There's great whites here too every now and then. We even see some orcas that come over here every now and then.
Yeah. Okay. So it's all the aggressive ones, really.
Yeah, the Galapagos are real aggressive, man. When we jump in blue water and there's those things swimming around, those things get in your face.
Really? Come straight at you.
Yeah. They come straight at you. I had one swim up from underneath. Like, I was looking around side to side, and then I looked down, and the shark's coming at me, like,
Oh.
6. And I tried to back up, and he just came right up to my chest and turned over and kind of, like, just brushed. I remember his, like, sandpaper against my chin.
Wow.
And I was just like, holy crap, I'm getting out of the water.
Far out. I heard a story once that you should swim back at them. Like, that's what scares them off, is if you swim at them. But Jesus, that seems like such a scary thing to do.
You just poke at them with your spear. They leave you alone.
Yeah.
They don't really mess with you unless you got a fish on your line and it's going all crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They get aggressive.
Yeah.
They could probably accidentally bite you trying to bite that fish when you're bringing it up.
And it looks like you get some pretty decent sized fish, and like you got everything there, right? Like you got crayfish, you've got lots of octopus, and then you've got some big old fish. What do you like your main? What would you prefer to get from the water, from the ocean?
I like to dive for octopus. That's one of my hobbies.
Yeah.
I mean, we use the octopus to catch GTs, uluas. I've learned how to dive. We call them taco. I've learned how to dive taco since I was young, like 10 years old.
How far do you usually have to dive to get them?
Depends. I mean, when they're in the boulders, it depends on the time of the day too. Like midday, they like to go in the deeper water.
Mm-hmm.
Early mornings, they're in the shallow. Late evening, they start coming back into the shallow, into their holes. But maybe like anywhere from 5 feet to 50 feet.
Yeah, wow.
There's octopus, yeah.
And are you just reaching down, grabbing them, and biting them straight away on the head, or do you bring them all the way up to the surface first?
I don't bite them. I take them out alive. I dive with dive bags.
Okay.
And I just grab them and put them in the dive bag, leave them alive.
Yeah.
And then when I go fishing, I take them fishing. I put them in a bucket with salt water and an aerator, and we take them fishing alive.
Okay. And you chuck them out whole?
Yeah, we'll cut legs off or slide like 3 legs, 2 legs, and then the head. But then they're still like moving, going down there and blinking. The lights are their colors. They call them blink, and it's candy. The uluas can't resist it.
Yeah.
But I have better luck with live bait. I don't have much good luck with octopus. I've probably slid 1,000 pounds of octopus and hadn't turned up an ulu off of it. I'm like, I'm wasting all this stuff. I should just eat it. So now it goes in the freezer.
Yeah. Octopus is good eating, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
We make a kimchi poke out of it. It's kimchi with taco, with the octopus and the cucumbers.
That sounds awesome.
It's like the old-fashioned way that pretty much ever since I could remember, that was like the thing my dad used to bring home was a taco poke.
That sounds incredible, actually. So you have your taco wrap at the base, and you got kimchi, octopus, cucumber.
No, it's octopus steamed or boiled in beer.
Mm.
They dice it up into like small bite size, and then they dice the cucumbers with little onions and then kimchi sauce, and they mix it up, and then you eat it.
No
You,
way.
you just eat it with the fork.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
just stab a cucumber and a leg and
Yeah.
eat it. Just stab. It's freaking awesome.
Dude, it's right around dinner time. My mouth is watering like crazy. Sounds so good. um, let's talk about the access deer real quick because I mean you've been pretty successful with them. You've done a good job on them. They're a very jumpy deer, and over here they're about. They're definitely there's lots of numbers of them, and there's definitely people who are successful with them, but I don't know if we've got the same amount of numbers or what the case is. But what's kind of been your biggest findings when it comes to the axis deer?
Well, there's no deer on our island,
Okay.
but Maui, Molokai, and Lanai have access deer. I've actually only hunted access deer a few times. I don't have much experience with that animal,
Mm-hmm.
but each time that I went, I was able to arrow a good one. I mean, the numbers are in the thousands.
Yeah.
I think the last month when I went over there, the first morning we saw like 6,000 deer.
Wow.
It was pretty intense.
Just walking through the
Hundreds,
fields.
just herds of hundreds blowing through. When
Holy
we
hell.
busted out a bunch, we ran over to this hole in a fence, and the fence was just getting smashed by hundreds of deer. You don't know which one to shoot.
That's insane.
But it was pretty tough with all those eyes and all
Mm.
that deer. It was hard to crawl in and seal the deal on anything under 50 yards. I ended up shooting a real nice buck and couldn't find it. And I shot that sucker at like point blank.
Yeah.
He was walking to a water hole, and I drew right when he came to this cactus bush, and he was like 5 feet in front of me, and I was just the whole sights was spots. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it rip, and he like caught me moving with him in the corner of his eye.
Yeah.
And he jumped up, and when he jumped, I shot and hit him in the gut.
Oh no.
And then I panicked. I was like, oh no, is there blood? I started looking on the ground, came around the corner. I look up, and he's bedded down, just putting his head down, head back. Looks right at me, gets up, runs. I never seen him again.
Yeah.
I was weak. If I would have just left him alone and walked out of there, he would have been laying right there.
It's pretty crazy, right? Like animals when they get injured, they're pretty quick to try get down to safety.
Yeah. Their adrenaline kicks in and gets them freaking a mile away.
Yeah, once you bump them, they'll go. They'll go for
Yeah,
sure.
they'll go miles. But if I would have just probably left him, he probably would have died in like 20 minutes.
Mm.
Versus 20 minutes of running, he ran till he gassed out, and who knows where he went.
Yeah.
Because there was no blood trail.
That's the hard thing about a gut shot, right? Like, you're not going to get a lot of blood with that.
Yeah, there was not even blood in his bed. There was a little drop.
Yeah.
But he was hurt. He probably died. My one of my good friends that it was his first time hunting deer the last time we went, and he got a solid buck, a 30-inch buck. That was pretty awesome. I was stoked for him. He got one.
Yeah. I mean, some of the ones you're putting up, is that like some of the photos you've got, like the deer look incredible. They look huge. Like they've got some big racks on them.
That was last year's rack. I shot 2 bucks at one day. That was on Father's Day.
Oh wow.
That was probably the most epic hunt of my life right there.
Mm-hmm.
The first morning we seen so much deer. Snuck up on this herd. My friend's like, shoot the one. I'm like, nah, I don't want to shoot a small buck. He's like, just shoot him. And I was like, okay. I peek around the turn, and there's 5 more bucks standing right there. I'm like, oh, there's 5 bucks. He's like, shoot the biggest one. I was like, oh, okay. I draw back. I'm all shaky. I'm taking deep breaths. I remember looking at my friend in the corner of my eye, just laughing at me. I ended up soaking him, and we found him right there. And then we went and had lunch, kicked back, went to a new spot in that afternoon. The other guys went one way, and we're sitting there talking story. What are we gonna do? And then we heard this buck just wow, 200 yards from the truck.
No way.
Better than that, we snuck in, found him bedded down. I did a loop around, and he ended up walking right up to me at 40 yards. Didn't even know I was there. He was like scratching his back with his horn, looking in there, smelling in the air. Had a couple does coming down to him. And then right when he turned broadside, I just let him have it.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the coolest hunts I've ever been on, that's for sure. I've never had that much action hunting before.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It sounds like even though obviously it's the numbers are dropping, it still sounds like such a rad place. Like it sounds like you've got plenty of opportunity if you want to immerse yourself in the experience of it all.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you're a plane ride away from another island that has thousands of deer, and it's like $180 round trip, and you're jumping on a little plane with your bow and your pack. Go for the weekend, come back. Pretty awesome.
And can you just camp in the public land? You can kind of go wherever.
You're not supposed to camp in public land. You can camp on designated camping areas.
Okay.
You're not supposed to make open fires either, unless you have a designated fire pit. So like you can't just go camping in the forest in the public land like you can in Australia or in the mainland. It's different over here. They don't want you making fires and stuff like that, or disturbing the native forest.
Yeah, it's definitely very restrictive here. Like you're only allowed to go to camping grounds and stuff. Like there is definitely like public land you can camp on, but it's not like you can just go wherever you want and do it.
Right. Mostly private land, yeah.
Yeah. So you can. It's probably pretty similar. So that's really cool, dude. Well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. Is there anything that you reckon we should leave the listeners with? Like anything we didn't really touch on?
Just be cool when you come to Hawaii, or the locals will check you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
No road raging.
Yeah. That's
about it. Other than that, everything over here is aloha. Everybody is very nice. Hawaii is a beautiful place. It's definitely worth coming to visit. Bring the family, bring the wife.
Yeah. I'm excited to get out there one day. It's it's actually we get ridiculously cheap flights every once in a while. I think I saw them last year for, I'm pretty sure it was like $300. Like it was ridiculous. Maybe $300 each way, so $600 to get there, which seems absolutely crazy.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
When I came to Australia, it was like $900 round trip. That's a long flight, dude.
What is it, about 9 hours?
I think it was like 13 or something.
Okay. Where'd you land? Sydney?
I landed in Sydney, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I've gone to LA a few times, and you fly from Brisbane to LA in about 14 hours. So, yeah.
It's like a 6-hour flight from here to LA.
Okay, so it's definitely doable for us Queenslanders, a little bit faster, which is nice. But man, mahalo, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit more about the experiences you've had growing up in Hawaii, and I guess some of the experiences that are still available for people to come and do. And it's kind of cool, obviously, with the podcast, getting to talk to people all around the world and getting to hear what the different hunting experiences are, but just getting to meet people like yourself. I kind of really appreciate the fact that the podcast is able to gift me that. So yeah, thanks heaps for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Whenever you're in Hawaii, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. We'll hang out.
We'll go do a hunt or go surf.
Yeah, both. Where can people follow you? You're pretty much most active on Instagram?
Instagram or Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Oz is in AUS _ Griffey, Griffey on Instagram.
Yep, Austin Griffey.
Perfect. All right, Austin, thanks heaps, dude.
Right on. We'll check you later.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Appreciate it.